As Hungary's new government dismantles a state-funded think tank called the Danube Institute, its leaders are already relocating its influence network to the United States, into a new nonprofit set up with help from a law firm connected to Elon Musk. This is the Daily Pulse for August 24, 2026. Reporting from the investigative outlet V-Square shows that when a state-funded influence operation faces a threat in its home country, it doesn't necessarily dissolve. It migrates, seeking out more permissive legal and financial jurisdictions to continue its work. Before this dismantling began, internal documents show the Danube Institute spent heavily to integrate itself into the Western right. In 2025, the organization paid over 420,000 euros to international fellows. Positioned as independent voices, they were effectively subsidized by the Hungarian state. By funding them, the institute could project its geopolitical vision through voices that appeared part of a spontaneous, global ideological movement. This indicates a shift away from traditional diplomacy. Authoritarian elites are instead utilizing dark money to create a facade of organic political alignment across international borders. These same mechanisms for manufacturing consent are appearing within United States domestic policy, specifically within proposals championed by Donald Trump. Bloomberg recently investigated the public comment period for a proposal that would allow 401k retirement funds to be steered into private equity. On the surface, the rule seemed to have significant public backing, generating some 47,000 comments. However, Bloomberg found that roughly 12,000 of those comments were faked. This astroturfing campaign used the identities of real people, and in some cases, people who had been dead for years, to manufacture a false sense of grassroots support for the rule. We see a similar effort to manage public perception in the campaign of GOP candidate Mike Rogers. Reporting from Truthout indicates Rogers has maintained a relentless fundraising pace, recently attending 3 fundraisers hosted by the lobbying group AIPAC in a single day. The report details how Rogers is actively seeking ways to accept these funds while keeping the specific sources of that money hidden from public disclosure filings. This tension between public transparency and hidden influence is also playing out in California's oversight of major corporate monopolies. California Attorney General Rob Bonta recently walked away from settlement talks regarding a merger between Paramount and Warner Bros. Discovery. The Attorney General cited unauthorized leaks from within the process as the reason for the collapse, suggesting the integrity of the regulatory oversight had been compromised. Whether it's a federal retirement rule, a congressional campaign, or a multi-billion-dollar merger, the tactic is consistent. The erasure of the financial trail ensures these policies can proceed without facing genuine public pushback. When genuine popularity cannot be faked, digital platforms are being used to subsidize social division, creating the political friction needed to justify an expansion of state power. Paid advertising and platform algorithms are increasingly being used to sort and amplify inflammatory content to specific populations. A cross-border investigation found 773 hateful political ads on Meta, targeting the Visegrad 4 nations in a single year. These weren't organic posts, they were paid advertisements purchased by politicians to target and harass journalists. And this pattern extends directly to live video. A separate investigation into Polish TikTok found that the platform's live feature was actively amplifying pro-Russian and anti-Semitic content across more than 100 far-right accounts. Author Alec Karakatsanis argues that this manufactured social division has a specific policy goal. He points to the bipartisan political backlash following the 2020 uprisings as a case study. Karakatsanis details how the social friction of that era was used as a pretext by both parties to quietly expand the reach of police, digital surveillance, and immigration enforcement. The subsidized division seen in European ad networks and the surveillance expansion in the US operate in tandem. The fracture generated in the digital sphere provides the immediate political justification for the expansion of physical state power. While influence often operates in the shadows, it eventually meets resistance from organizations dedicated to institutional integrity. In Hungary, this resistance is led by Atlátszó, the country's first investigative non-profit newsroom. For 15 years, Atlátszó has survived under the government of Viktor Orbán, persisting despite being designated a national security threat and facing repeated police raids intended to shut them down. We see a different form of resistance in France, where decentralized civil society has shown it can move faster than centralized political parties. reporting on the 2024 through the legal system. Several organizations are currently in federal court challenging the administration's sanctions against the International Criminal Court, arguing they are an unconstitutional overreach of executive power. Investigative newsrooms, rapid civic organizing, and constitutional court challenges act as a decentralized immune system, creating the friction necessary to slow or stop the manufacture of consent. A final example of this institutional integrity can be found in a recent labor victory in the United States. An arbitrator recently ruled that the Washington Post lacked just cause when it fired columnist Karen Adia over her social media posts. The ruling requires the paper to reinstate her with full back pay, upholding speech protections for journalists. Authoritarian influence networks rely on dark money and the amplification of hate to remain viable. However, these cases suggest that transparency and organized labor remain the most effective tools for exposing those networks to the light. Are our democratic institutions adapting fast enough to catch borderless influence tools in the act? The source articles are linked in the video description.